Me again. A little bit on alcoholism and belonging. I read this. I'm gonna read this to you. I have always searched for my place and my people. For every human being to feel connected, we must have the feeling of belonging. That is one of the values and benefits of a culture. It creates the feeling of belonging. If for some reason, while you were growing up, you did not develop the feeling of belonging, a search will be triggered and a restlessness will be present in your heart. You will have a hole inside you, something missing, until you find your place and your people. Remember, we realize we belong to the Great Spirit and that He really loves us a lot. My Creator, today, I belong to you. Let me feel your presence. Thank you. Hands up if you always felt other, different, like you didn't belong. Hands up if you constantly were seeking outward validation. Codependency, insecure attachments to people, places and things. So I think a lot of us have heard that connection is the solution to addiction. That has been really true for me because I was an alcoholic isolator, so my alcoholism, one of the isms, there's many, told me that I'd be happy if I shut out the world, and it worked for a while until it didn't work. Ever since I was a child, like it says here, if for some reason, while you were growing up, you did not develop the feeling of belonging. Absolutely true. I believe many alcoholics feel that way. And not just alcoholics, but a lot of people. But if you develop a dependency on alcohol, all these things become magnified to infinitum. So I didn't want to burden people with my dilemmas and my choices and my consequences. So for the most part, I isolated and I drank mostly alone. And that was a safeguard, not only for others, but also for myself, because I didn't know what would happen every time I picked up that first drink and kept going to the point of blackout. I didn't know what consequence I was going to embark on, what vortex I was going to spin out of control into. Who, if I dragged people in, it would just be that much more consequential, right? That's how I got to my last drunk. My last drunk took me to a place where people I cared about were involved, because now people saw me in the trouble, right? I was found on my front porch in my own pew on Thanksgiving of October 2022. The man I was seeing at the time came over for the dinner that I obviously did not get to. I ended up in a blackout. I was babysitting my son and his best friend. And he found me and cleaned me up, got my friend's mother to come pick him up, told her to go to the back door because the front porch was covered in vomit. No, I did not choke on my own vomit, but that can happen. And that's one of the deathly scary things about the consequences and the places we can find ourselves in, the ditches that we can find ourselves in. So I was so desperate for a spiritual community because I was dabbling in spirituality. I was dabbling in meditation. I was dabbling in prayer, but I was drinking with my bottle and my self-help stuff. That's what I looked forward to on Saturday nights, because I knew I could get to a certain point of drunk where I could release some of the bottled up emotions that I could not release when I was not drinking. So when I got to my last drunk and I knew I had to make a change because I was hurting people that I loved, and I couldn't hide it anymore, you know. So through prayer and intention and the gift of desperation, I was able to walk in to get some help. And what I found there was connection. What I found there was a spiritual community that my soul was crying out for so loudly. I think a lot of my scary bouts with blackouts and drunks were cries for help. But if nobody's around to hear it, is it really a cry? It says you will have a hole inside you. That hole has been filled with a new community of people who understand the disease of alcoholism. Because without people who experience the same feelings and who understand the isms and the mind sickness and the soul sickness, everyone else just doesn't get it. They cannot get it. They are not capable of grasping what it means in its entirety. It says a search will be triggered and a restlessness will be present in your heart. Absolutely. I was searching for years. I went down endless rabbit holes, knowledge seeking, just trying to find something, anything to fill that hole. Any bit of knowledge to make me feel a little bit fuller. You know, I love information. I'm a thinker, I'm a truth seeker, and that's all fun. But to what end, right? The hole just got deeper and deeper, and I couldn't see a light a lot of the time at the end of that tunnel. Until I found my tribe, my family, my friends. I was on my phone looking at my list of contacts the other day, and there were 16 people there, and they were all people in recovery, and that for me is a miracle, and it's remarkable. That's it for now. May our hearts be open and our souls free. Bless.